Everybody, welcome back to another video. Now this video, as the title suggests, I'm going to be talking about my ideas for a Telltale Batman Season 3, because I really do kind of enjoy this franchise, and I have a lot of ideas for the story and characters and villains, because I wanted to throw my hat in the ring. People have talked about what villains they would love to see, but I actually had a cool idea for a pitch for a story that really takes what we knew about things from the second and first season with returning characters like Penguin or Two-Face and really flips all the knowledge we knew on its head. Because the Telltale Batman games do that when it comes to lore. They do their own thing slightly. Obviously, we would be redesigning the Batsuit. I don't want it to be a little Arkham-esque, but I do want to update the game from a gameplay point of view to make it less stiff, but also really drive home that this is its own universe and really do some unique things, pulling from a lot of storylines like Long Halloween, Hush, and even the Court of Owls, which was the main inspiration for this video I had. Now, obviously, Telltale games do have their own lore that they want to tell, like they did with the Riddler and Lady Arkham, and I want to do something very similar with the third season, but really up the ante, especially when it comes to combat, and bringing in new characters like Pamela Lillian Isley, Mr. Freeze, Mad Hatter, the Pact in a little bit of a sense, and also introducing a new main villain of Scarecrow that really pushes things, giving us new characters like Barbara Gordon, and expanding on relationships from the first game, and also expanding on the combat, stealth, and certain elements of the gameplay, but expanding especially on your relationship with Jim Gordon and other familiar characters in a new way. I want to take elements from the first season that I really liked, and elements from the second season, and especially with your choices with Jim in the second season, I really want to have there be a complicated relationship that you have with him, especially as Batman or Bruce Wayne. I might expand on in a story-focused video of my pitch for a Telltale Batman Season 3, but for this video, I just want to go over a lot of rough ideas that I have. When it comes down to it, the story that I have envisioned would pull from the three stories I really liked the most, being Long Halloween, Court of Owls, and Batman Hush, taking certain things from Season 1 and Season 2, but also really twisting things in a whole new facet, returning characters like Harvey, but with a minor twist, and giving us some new characters to go along with that, and also characters like Oswald getting out of prison, and other familiar characters like Agent Avesta that would be working at Wayne Enterprises, if depending on your choices, and she also could return later even if you don't have her working for you, because the second season does play a major role with how this game would open, which I might expand on maybe later in this video, I don't know. Honest, I do want to expand on the choice system, making it similar to Until Dawn and Detroit Become Human, but also on a gameplay front, I do want to refine things, making it a lot better than what we originally have had, making it less button pressy, quick timey, and stuff like that, and making it feel like still like Telltale, but also more like Batman. Not making it like Arkham in a sense, but making it still its own thing. With my version of Season 3, I would make it 10 chapters compared to the usual 5, giving us ample room for a massive story and no room for error. I do want a lot of familiar characters that we do know to come back in this season and have expanded roles, and maybe your choices with them in the older seasons really play a major role in this one, but they would be minor characters, but they do play a part in the plot. Have old characters play just as much of a role as the new ones, and the new ones are going to be giving us our big reveals. With this game, I wanted it to focus on something that was a part of the first season, but also take elements from the second season and really expand things and flip things on its head. The biggest lore drop that we had was about Thomas Wayne, him being not what we thought he was, him being a villain, in a sense, and I wanted to expand on that. Of course, I wanted to use two important storylines that really drive that point home, and flipping the lore of Thomas Wayne even further. The Court of Owls, and also Batman Hush. A lot of lore that we think we would know on its head, like what they did with Riddler and Sanctus, and Lady Arkham and Thomas. Even Penguin. To flip the lore of Thomas Wayne even further and expand on stuff that we learned in the first season, but even expand things from the second season even further, and having it tied into one another. Majorly with the Court of Owls being the biggest overwhelming threat in this game. Taking cues from games like Gotham Knights, but slightly tweaking a lot of things, the Court in this game is a lot more dangerous. They had a role in Sanctus, they're a reason why they are underneath Gotham in the first place, and also, they've had a role in a lot of things, especially with what happened with Thomas, and also what happened with the Cobblepots, and especially their role in Roman Sionis, his family. Would have had hands in everything, and what all that has happened in the previous few seasons have really been a result of certain actions that were done by Thomas, but mainly due to the court, and that would come home to roost in this game. Characters like Jonathan Crane do play a mild role as an antagonist, kind of similar to Batman Begins and stuff like that, but this time around, this game isn't just about fear, it's about legacy. The themes of legacy, I wanted it to take cues from Arkham Knight, Iron Man 2, and it will have a lot of callbacks from the first season as intended, but I wanted it to feel a lot more different, especially with the way things would be twisted around. With characters like Hush, Roman Sionis, aka the Black Mask, and a lot of returning familiar characters like Mr. Freeze, Catwoman, Selena Kyle, John Doe would make a lot of appearances when you would visit him if you decide to do certain things as Batman. And it would also have a bit of a murder mystery thing going back to the Long Halloween. In a sense, this game would be fusing three different storylines together, but doing it in a different type of way, kind of changing up a lot of things, fusing the Long Halloween with Hush and also the Court of Owls storyline. Even having familiar characters from that storyline to make an appearance in this game. I do want to expand on the court in this game and have it be a major antagonist, but not the antagonist of the game. That honor goes to Jonathan Crane and Roman, but also Hush, being the puppet master, manipulating things. But comes down to Hush, I want to twist things majorly. Especially with the Court of Owls being involved, I have a lot of interesting ideas. I might even do a story-focused video sometime in the future, so if you guys want to see that, let me know. But with a lot of my basic ideas for some things for the story, I haven't really got into characters and how the second season really will impact how you will do things going into this season. Especially with your final choices, especially with certain characters. Agent Avesta, depending on certain choices, if she does work for you, or you leave her for Waller, she can turn out distinctly different or distinctly the same, even in this game. But if she does work for you, depending on your choices, she can become a secondary vigilante, or take a role of Oracle, or something else entirely. Who knows, I might expand on that. Avesta was probably my favorite character, and honestly, she was one that I deeply enjoyed. Hell, Catwoman being another character that obviously is going to play a role in this game, and of course, she would make an appearance. Being honest, Catwoman's role would be distinctly different this time around. Not just being there by chance like she was in the second season, actually being originally a part of Riddler's gang and all that, and having a friendship with him, but in this game, it would be more about her relationship with Bruce, instead of just this cat and mouse game This time around, I think their romance could really blossom, and taking cues from some of the newer comics, I honestly could see, depending on your choices, them even getting married near the end of the game. With characters like Harvey returning, this would be very interesting, because she would have a lot more of a complicated relationship with Harvey after his actions in the first season. So her and him would have a very complicated hate and love triangle. But with Grace involved, this time around, Harvey is a lot more happier. He doesn't want to repeat what happened with Selena. So this time around, there would be a lot more characters that really work off one another and have a bit of a development, being the biggest one. But with characters like Oswald being released from prison, giving us even new characters like I talked about early in the video, the old ones would really have more complicated areas of choice and stuff like that. And let's not forget Joker. He wouldn't have a big role as he did in the second season, but he would play a lot of a smaller role in things. Being able to meet him at certain choices in the story to try to talk to him, if you did certain choices, obviously, and maybe it would call back to the Killing Joke in some regards. Being able to talk to other people in Arkham. Obviously, characters like Lady Arkham might make a small appearance, or might even play a major role in this. When it comes to Joker, I just see him playing more of a side role, as another lineup villain in this long Halloween mixed storyline, causing chaos at some point later down the line, but really not a whole lot. Really challenging certain things when it comes to Bruce, but not playing a central main villain role. In the way that I see Lady Arkham popping back up through this story. Personally, Joker, I don't see playing a major role, even though, like Lady Arkham, he does know Bruce's identity, but if I'm being honest, Lady Arkham has more of a connection to the main plot, unlike Joker. With other characters, like Amanda Waller or stuff like that, if anything, they would just be side characters that might be seen at some point, but really don't play a major role. Maybe somewhat, but really they don't come back into the fray of this story. Tiffany being the biggest character depending on your final choices. Either having Waller go after her, or mentoring her yourself, or having her face justice, really would impact the beginning of the story when it comes down to it. I honestly liked the character of Tiffany. I thought she shook things up, especially when they decided to kill off Lucius. Your final choices with her really play a major role in the beginning of this season, especially with her role as a vigilante. Whether you choose to mentor her or have her face justice and have her go on the run really changes up a lot of things. If you choose to mentor her but give up Batman, it's a very interesting dynamic versus you stay Batman and still mentor her. This time around, it would be a lot more complicated no matter what you choose. Tiffany would probably be the most fascinating character to have different dynamics with, and things that would change up your relationship with her, especially given her actions in the second season, choosing to kill Riddler. If I'm being honest, with her as a vigilante, that would be very interesting and complicated compared to John being a vigilante. Honestly, this time around, she could be a lot more easier to control, but a little bit more complicated no matter what you do. Being that offer of light in a way, especially with Alfred being gone, depending on certain choices, she can honestly bring Bruce back a little bit, but also still scold him for letting go of Alfred. And stuff like that. Elle, being the daughter of Lucius Fox, it's pretty interesting to see her work with Batman in a different sense. If I'm being honest, she's proven she can make gadgets for Batman. She can even expand a role to make new gadgets and new mechanics for this game, being a part of that. especially even making her a side and basically protagonist that you could play as in certain points of the game. Instead of just only playing Batman, this time it would shake things up, giving us another character that we can get a perspective on, and maybe even have her actions or choices play a role with her relationship with Batman just as much as his with hers. Slightly pulling from Detroit Become Human on the multiple protagonist angle and choices mattering, obviously. But depending on what choice you do to face justice, mentor her, you can honestly turn her into a different vigilante depending on these final choices. Hell, even mentoring her and actually giving her a chance would really do a lot of good compared to having her be a vigilante on the run. Bruce and Batman kind of becoming a father-like figure for Tiffany after what happened with Schiff and all that. So their mentor-mentee relationship can always be somewhat complicated no matter what you do. Hell, she can even become so many things, especially with the drone and the design they gave her being very intriguing nonetheless. I know a lot of people don't like her being Robin, so having her become a different vigilante depending on your choices, like Spoiler, Batgirl, and like role. Hell, it's Tiffany. You can even turn her into a female version of Batwing and it would make sense. And depending on your choices, you could have it be a mentor-mentee relationship similar to Batman Beyond, if you give up Batman, that is. Because the final choice would play a role at the beginning of the game. The choice to give up Alfred or give up Batman. And that would really play a role in this story. And play a part in the beginning, whether you choose to give up Alfred or mentor Tiffany or not, those final choices play a role. This Batman would be a lot more vicious without Alfred, a lot more cold, a lot more calculating, brutal, almost like Arkham Origins Batman. And if you're trying to mentor Tiffany or not, let's just say things are looking for the worst for Gotham, especially learning when it comes to the Court of Owls. But if you choose to give up Batman and mentor Tiffany or not, Bill will have a role as Bruce Wayne. But regardless of what you choose, those two endings, they really play a role in this storyline with the court. Regardless of what you choose, if you give up Batman or Alfred, those final choices with Tiffany and Alfred really play a major role in the openings of either or. But I might just expand on that in a separate story-focused video of how I would write a Season 3 to the Telltale's Batman. If you guys want to see that, and you made it to the end of this video, let me know in the comments, and let me know some of your guys' ideas. I really hope you kind of liked my more scatterbrained ideas of how I would do certain things for a Telltale Batman Season 3. I know this video is a little all over the place, sorry about that, but I can't really help it. Really hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to like this video if you enjoy, let me know what you think in the comments, and subscribe if you're new. It really helps out the channel and me. And check out some of the other videos on the channel, linked in the description, and I'll put them in the comments the best I can. And peace out, bye bye.